Hi guys, my name is Komil. I read Henry Ford's biography recently and I really wanted to share it with you. I was so surprised by a few things in the book that I wanted to compare it to today's environment, especially to Elon Musk and Tesla. See, there is so much FUD out there that is supported by politicians.
There you are. You did, Mary. You electrified the entire automobile industry. I'm serious.
Paid by competition and embraced by the media. I hope you can learn from the past so you can understand the present and prepare for the future, because ultimately that's what matters. Nothing I say is a financial advice, but I hope it's useful to you nonetheless. I hope you will really enjoy it, and with that, let's get started. My first impression was Ford 110 years ago was in a very similar situation to Tesla today. Let's see what happened from a period of 1910 to 1921. What Henry Ford did was not just amazing in manufacturing efficiency, but also the marketing and the pricing of his cars. I will show you the prices. You will see as every year they continue dropping the prices of their touring car, look what happens to their volume. In 1910, the price per car is $950 and the volume is at 18,000. In 1911, the price drops to $780 and the volume is up 85%. In 1912, the price is at $690. The volume is up 127%. 1913, the price is at $600. 1914, $550. $490. $440. In 1917, the price is at $360. That's an enormous drop from $950 to $360 in such a short period of time. The price drops by 2/3 during this period, while the quality is continuously improving. And here's the crazy part. The cost of labor as well as raw materials continues to rise throughout this period. But Henry Ford's manufacturing efficiency as well as innovations enable him to continue lowering the cost of the overall car as well as the price of the car throughout this period. In 1918, the price went up to $450, while the volume dropped 10%. As many of you know, US was hit with the Spanish flu pandemic that lasted for 4 years. They might have had their own supply chain as well as labor shortages back then, similar to what we are experiencing today. 1919, the price continues to rise. 1920, the price finally reverses from a high of $575 to $440, while the volume jumps 87%. 1921, the price reaches the lowest level of $335, while the volume is at 1.25 million units. At one point, the stockholders were so alarmed when the production numbers reached 100 cars per day. They wanted to stop him from ruining the company. When Henry Ford said that 100 cars is a trifle and that he wants to build 1,000 cars per day, they were shocked and seriously contemplated a court action. See, they wanted to sue him for thinking big. Although within a decade, he was building 3,000 to 4,000 cars per day. 1920s is also known as the Roaring Twenties. The least you can do to prepare for your future is to know your past. If you invest in anything, stocks, bonds, cryptos, real estate, then you should be familiar with the 1921 depression as well as the 1929 Great Depression that followed the Roaring Twenties. If you want to learn more about that time period, please let me know in the comment section below. Back to the table for a second. Why is this so important, you may think? Tesla has a target of 20 million cars per year. See, in 2018, they only produced 245,000 cars. In 2019, 367,000. In 2020, it was already at 500,000. In 2021, 936. And 2022, estimates are as high as 2 million, especially with the opening of 2 new factories, Giga Austin and Giga Berlin. See, for Wall Street, it seems difficult to understand the growth rate that they're experiencing and that it may easily reach 20 million by 2030. If you know anything about Tesla, similar to Ford, they have been introducing lower priced cars over the years, while the sales have been growing dramatically. In fact, the demand has grown so much that they had to raise the prices last year just to keep the wait times more manageable. So the 20 million number that haters love to hate, doubters love to doubt is more than likely, in my opinion. Once they introduce a $25,000 car followed by an $18,000 car, I think sky is the limit. But unlike Wall Street, I do not believe they need to introduce a lower priced car this year or next. They're barely keeping up with demand to begin with. What Wall Street worries about is whether 50% growth rate is possible going forward. See, if they really wanted to increase sales, they could easily cut the prices by $10,000 or $20,000 and still enjoy better margins than the other automakers, even without the FSD software. So let me slow this down so that an average Wall Street analyst can understand. It's all about the supply of cars.
There is no demand issue.
By the way, I wanted to share this Ford specific event that I thought was so awesome. One year, their profits were so high, they voluntarily decided to return $50 to each car buyer. Think about that for a second. That was about 10% of the car purchase price. I want to talk about Wall Street and industry experts. Did you know that in Henry Ford's time, all the wise people demonstrated conclusively that internal combustion engines could not compete with steam engine? In fact, here's a quote from Henry Ford himself. "This is the way with wise people. They are so wise and practical that they always know to a dot just why something cannot be done. That's why I never employ an expert in full bloom. If I wanted to kill an opposition, I would endow them with experts." Unfortunately, the story is not much different today. For example, the number of car fires and accidents that Teslas have are truly minuscule compared to the internal combustion engine cars. But the politicians and media love to pound on every negative story on Tesla while ignoring tens of thousands of ICE car fires every year. What about attacks on EVs in general? Range anxiety. I tell you, as a Tesla owner, my biggest anxiety is not having access to a Tesla when I'm traveling. Fire risks. Look at the stats. Speed and handling. You have to try it for yourself. Otherwise, it's kind of like explaining with pictures. You really have to try it for yourself. And power. Some of these criticisms are starting to look funny these days, but unfortunately, traditional media has been spreading this FUD for decades, discouraging people from transitioning to a sustainable future. Lastly, I want to highlight compensation. Henry Ford wanted to pay his employees so well that they could afford the cars that they're building. In fact, it was a big deal to own a car. In fact, it was considered a rich man's toy. Same could be said about Tesla today. You get health insurance from day one. You qualified for a discounted stock compensation plan. In fact, many people working at Tesla are millionaires. So if you're looking for a fulfilling job where you'll be happy, busy, and wealthy, you should consider working for Tesla. Speaking of jobs, Henry Ford believed in abolishing titles. Only few may be legally necessary, but the rest is just bullshit. No hierarchy, no chain of command. Get rid of them. When a man is really at work, his work should honor him. He really needs no title. He believed people end up where they belong. He also did not care about your background, whether you've been to Sing Sing or to Harvard. So what did you think? Isn't it amazing to learn from the past? I want to leave you with a comment that I heard from one of my teachers. You do not throw out a fruit because it has a bitter skin. You throw out the skin and you eat the fruit. When you study Henry Ford, you realize he was not perfect. Even Elon Musk is not perfect. And I may surprise some of you, even I'm not perfect. If you liked it, please leave me a positive comment. If you have a negative comment, please consider joining my wife's knitting channel, where she will help you calm down and reconsider your position. Thank you guys.